Jonas Reed didn't expect to die on a Tuesday. The cargo hauler had been listing to port for 3 days, alarms screaming through the corridors like wounded animals. He'd patched what he could with duct tape and prayers, but the universe had other plans. When the starboard engine finally gave out over the uncharted moon designated only as LV-447, Jonas had exactly 47 seconds to strap in before gravity reminded him who was in charge. The crash was violent. Metal screamed. His teeth rattled, then silence. He woke to purple sky and pain. Jonas dragged himself from the wreckage, every breath a knife in his ribs. The hauler was done, a smoking carcass of twisted metal and shattered dreams. His supplies were scattered across the rocky terrain like confetti at a funeral. He limped toward what looked like a cave system in the distance, clutching his toolbox like a lifeline. Shelter first, survival second, rescue, maybe never. The cave mouth yawned before him, dark and unwelcoming. Jonas clicked on his headlamp and stepped inside. That's when he heard the voice. Stop. He froze. A small figure emerged from the shadows, no taller than his waist, with luminescent skin that pulsed faintly blue in the darkness. Large eyes entirely black stared up at him with something between fear and defiance. She wore scraps of fabric fashioned into a dress, and in her small hands she held a piece of sharpened stone like a weapon. Are you here to harm our mother too? The words came out in heavily accented standard, trembling but fierce. She's dying. Jonas raised his hand slowly, the toolbox dangling from one finger. Kid, I'm not here to hurt anyone. My ship crashed. I just need shelter. The little alien, she couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 in human years, didn't lower her makeshift blade. The last one said that too. They took our water. They broke Mother's breathing machine. Her voice cracked. She can't breathe right anymore. Behind her, deeper in the cave, Jonas heard it, labored, wet breathing. The sound of someone drowning on dry land. His engineer's brain kicked in before his survival instincts could stop him. A breathing machine? What kind? The girl, Lyra, he would learn later, narrowed her eyes. Why? Because, Jonas said, lowering himself slowly to one knee despite the screaming protest from his ribs. I fix things. It's what I do. Lyra studied him for a long moment. In that pause, Jonas saw the weight she carried, the kind of weight no child should ever know. She'd seen enough of humanity's worst to distrust every word from his mouth, and who could blame her? Finally, she lowered the stone. Follow me, but if you hurt her, I'll kill you. Jonas believed her. Lyra's mother lay on a nest of salvaged fabric and moss, her skin flickering between pale blue and sickly gray. She was taller than her daughter, more humanoid than Jonas expected, but the family resemblance was clear in the shape of their faces and the gentle glow of their skin. The breathing machine beside her was a Terran model, 15 years out of date, held together with wire and desperation. Jonas recognized it immediately. Colonial medical equipment, the kind mining companies left behind when operations went bust. They came 6 days ago, Lyra said quietly, kneeling beside her mother. 3 men in a ship with loud engines. They said they needed water for repairs. Father tried to help them. She touched her mother's hand. They shot him. Took everything. Smashed the machine when Mother tried to stop them. Jonas felt something dark and cold settle in his stomach. He'd seen it before. The casual cruelty that bloomed in the lawless corners of the galaxy. Good people did bad things when no one was watching. Bad people did worse. Let me see the machine. He set down his toolbox and knelt beside the apparatus. The damage was severe but not catastrophic. The primary oxygen concentrator was cracked, and someone had ripped out the power regulator in a fit of spite. But the core components were intact. He had parts in his kit. Not exact matches, but close enough for a field repair. How long has she been like this? Jonas asked, already pulling tools from his kit. 4 days, maybe 5. Lyra watched him with desperate hope fighting against learned cynicism. Can you fix it? I can try. Jonas worked in silence, his hands moving with the practiced efficiency of 30 years in the black. He bypassed the broken regulator with a spare from his hauler's life support system. He sealed the cracked concentrator housing with epoxy and reinforced it with strips of hull plating cut from a panel in his kit. It wasn't pretty, but pretty didn't keep people alive. 2 hours later, the machine hummed to life. The change in Lyra's mother was immediate. Her breathing eased, the desperate gasping replaced by steady rhythmic draws. The gray tint faded from her skin, replaced by a healthier blue glow. She didn't wake, but her hand twitched and Lyra grabbed it like a drowning sailor grabbing rope. "Thank you," the little girl whispered. Tears tracked down her cheeks, glowing faintly in the dim light. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Jonas sat back on his heels, exhaustion crashing over him like a wave. His ribs screamed. His head pounded. But he'd done it. One small victory in a universe that usually didn't give a damn. "Your father," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." Lyra nodded, wiping her eyes. "He said humans could be good, that not all of them were monsters." She looked up at Jonas. "I didn't believe him." "Smart kid. But you fixed Mother's machine." She tilted her head. "Why?" Jonas thought about all the ways he could answer that question. Because it was the right thing to do. Because he'd seen too much suffering. Because he had nothing left to lose. Instead, he said, because someone has to. 3 days later, Jonas's distress beacon finally got a response. A salvage ship picked him up along with Lyra and her mother. He made sure they were registered as refugees, got them medical treatment, found them safe passage to a colony world with others of their kind. As the ship lifted off, Lyra pressed something into Jonas's calloused hand. A small stone, polished smooth, that glowed faintly blue in the darkness. "For light," she said, "when things get dark." Jonas closed his fingers around it and nodded. He didn't trust his voice. In a universe that often ran on cruelty and greed, Jonas Reed had chosen differently. One toolbox, one broken machine, one little girl who'd learned that maybe, just maybe, humans could be more than monsters. It wasn't much, but it was enough.